Before we go and test the hypothesis, we need to take care of a couple of things first. Now, first we have to do is find out and list all the materials that we're going to need. So we're not going to need that many things in this type of experiment, but a few things would include test tubes. We're going to need a second thing, which are the nitrate testing pills. Thirdly, we're going to need a color detection chart so we can actually figure out which has a high concentration or low concentration by looking at the colors. And lastly, we're going to need our notebook so we can record all of our data in. Well, now we have our materials, but we also need a list of things to figure out how we're going to do it. Now, that's called our procedures. Now, the procedure is a step-by-step process. It's kind of like a recipe in a cookbook. It tells you exactly what to do. Now, the first thing we're going to have to do is go to a water source. In this case, the first stop would be Lake Ronkonkoma, and you have to fill the test tube to 5 milliliters. Now, there's a line on the test tube so that we know where exactly it has to be. The second thing, we have to place a nitrate testing tablet into the test tube and put the cap back on it. Thirdly, we have to wait 5 minutes for the red color to develop. Now, if no red color develops, that means we have a very low nitrate level. Fourthly, we have to compare the color of the sample to the nitrate color chart and make the record of it inside our notebook. And lastly, we have to repeat the procedures for all the water sources. So whatever we do at Lake Ronkonkoma, we'll be doing that at Blydenburg Lake and then at Specs Pond. Well, now that we have the materials, we know our step-by-step process in the procedure. So now we can actually go on site and perform the investigation.
On our testing site, and as you guys will see, if you take a little bit of a look around, there's not much vegetation going on here. So this will be our testing for low vegetation, so we can see what the nitrate levels are at. Now, if you come down over here, here's our test tube. We're going to fill it up to 5 milliliters, which is about here. We'll come on over here. And these are the nitrate tablets. If there's a high concentration, the water will turn very red. So we're going to pop the tablet out, insert it in, close it off, and give it a shake or two. Now, normally this is going to take 5 minutes to sit. Now, we're not going to video all 5 minutes to get the results, but we are going to come back to it. So, we'll see you in 5 minutes. Alright, so 5 minutes have passed, and we're now going to look at our results. As you can see, the test tube is showing a slightly yellow color to it, which is indicating that it has less than 5 parts per million of nitrates, which is a good thing for the water. If it happens to be in a light pink, it would have been 5, but the deeper the pink is, once you get to a really dark pink, now you're talking about a very high concentration of nitrates of being 40 parts per million or higher, which in this case is obviously nothing we have to worry about. So we have our results. It's less than 5 parts per million. So what we're going to do now is, it's now time to take out our science notebook and record our observations in it. So let's do that now.
Alright, so our notebook is now open. Don't forget that this is step 5 in the scientific method. So we want to label that data. And we should have a little table made up where we can record all of our data down. So let's get that table up and running. There we go. Alright, now notice on this table that the left column are going to be our independent variables, which are the plant concentrations. And on the right side, we have our dependent variable, which are the nitrate levels. So let's write in all of our independent variables now. So we have Lake Ronkonkoma, which we know has very low plant concentrations. We have Blydenburg, which is the medium plant concentrations. And then we have Specs Pond, which has a lot or very high level of plant concentrations. Alright, well, you know what? We just finished off of Ronkonkoma, so let's write in our data for our first water source. See, we had less than 5 parts per million, approximately 1. Good. Alright, so our first set of data is now recorded. Let's move on to the next water source and get some more data. And we're here at Blydenburg Park. This is our second water source for our little investigation on nitrates. So, if you take a look around, you can see Blydenburg has a little bit more vegetation than Ronkonkoma Lake has. Most of their vegetation, if you can look down here, most of their vegetation is going to be growing on the ground. Ronkonkoma really doesn't have any really ground vegetation, and you'll see that our third water source has complete underground and above ground, but we'll get to that one later. So let's start with our analysis. So we have our test tube. We're going to fill that up again to 5 milliliters. Okay, almost perfect. And that is wonderful. So we take our test tube. We're now going to insert 1 nitrate tablet like we did before. Put that in. Close our cap. Give it a little shake. Make sure that tablet goes all the way around. And now we need to wait 5 minutes and we're going to have our results. So I'll see you in 5. Alright, so our 5 minutes have passed. Now we're going to look at our data. We got my color chart here. I have my test tube here. And as you see, it's not looking too bad. It's nowhere close to being a dark pink. It's not even a light pink. So light pink is 5 parts per million. We're at a clear to maybe slight tint of yellow. And so we're safely under 5. So far, even though these results seem a little bit better than Lake Ronkonkoma was, still it's very safe under the 5 mark. So we can put this away. But we're not done yet because we still got to take out our science notebook. We're going to open it up. And we got to start recording some of our information so we can analyze it later. So let's start doing that now. Alright, notebook's open again. We're still on the data. We've already have our table filled out from our previous water source. Now we are under Blydenburg, so let's write in our data. Let's see, Blydenburg also had less than 5 parts per million, approximately less than 1. Remember, it's a little bit less than 1 because it was much clearer than the Lake Ronkonkoma sample, but still both of them had relatively low nitrate levels. Alright, Well, let's move on to our third and final water source.
Alright, so here we're at our last stop. This is Specs Pond. Alright, and as you can see, if you take a wider angle to this, you can see all the vegetation we have here. So we have a lot of plants. More plants than both our first and second water sources. So we're now going to do our nitrate test. So same test tube like the other two times before. We need to fill it up to, once again, 5 milliliters. Almost there. A little too much. Put a little bit more water in there. A little bit more. And good. Okay, so we have our 5 milliliters. Now it's time to drop in our tablet. Oh, that one broke apart. Let's get a new one. Alright, so our tablet's in. We're going to seal the test tube. Just like before, we're going to do a couple of shakes. And now we're going to wait 5 minutes. So, we'll see you in 5. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes later, and it's time to look at our results. If we look at it, here's our test tube, and it's actually lighter than the light pink tab, which is the 5 parts per million. So this has gone a little unexpected than what we originally thought. We actually thought it would actually be maybe a little bit closer to 5, maybe a little bit of a pink tint to it, but as you see, it's pretty far below 5, kind of similar to our other results. So there we have it. Now, our final step, let's open up once again our notebook and let in our data.
Alright, so notebook's open once again. Remember, we're in section 5. We have our table already made, and we have one spot left we need to fill out. We've just got our data for the Specs Pond high concentration, so let's write that in now. Let's see, we had less than 5 parts per million, approximately 1. Alright, very good. Remember, it's approximately 1 because Lake Ronkonkoma had a yellow tint to it. Blydenburg was very clear, almost just like purely clear water. Alright, well, all our data is in. We're going to move on to the next step and start some graphing.